What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another transfer update video. And today, the breaking news surrounding Arsenal, people, is that number one striker target, Benjamin Sesko, has rejected a move to Arsenal. Yeah, that's right. Benjamin Tesco, as I've been calling him recently, has said he will not join Arsenal this summer. He's rejected a move to Arsenal and to Chelsea and to Manchester United, and he will sign a new contract with his club in Germany, RB Leipzig. Fabrizio Romano reported the news this morning. He said, in this new contract, there is a gentleman's agreement between Sesko and his agents that he is able to leave Leipzig in the summer of 25 or 26 with different conditions compared to the €65 million release clause that he had this summer. Premier League clubs remain interested, but he will continue with Leipzig this season. And a quote says that Sesko believes staying at Leipzig is better for his overall development. He's 21 years of age, 6'5", scored 14 goals last season, and he has decided to sign a new contract with RB Leipzig. Now, let's put this into context. For me, I mean, interestingly enough, I was about to drop a video today, all you need to know about Benjamin Sesko. We can delete that video. I don't think we need to know anything about him apart from the fact he said no to us. Number one, I wasn't fully convinced by him anyway. And I'm not just saying that because he's rejected us. If you watch these streams on a regular basis, I've called him Benjamin Tesco. You know, he's not somebody that I think takes us to that next level. However, it is a little bit of a slap in the face for Arsenal. You know, Arsenal have just finished second in the Premier League for the second year in a row. We can offer big wages. It's London. It's the Premier League. For a 21-year-old from Leipzig to say no to us doesn't look great. Now, people will say, yeah, but he's rejected Chelsea. He's rejected Man United. Chelsea have just brought in a new manager. They're in the Conference League next season. There's not a lot of stability at that football club at the moment. It's a very risky club to sign for. You look at Manchester United, they're interviewing managers. They don't know whether Ten Hag's going to be in charge or not next season. They're in the Europa League. Their roof's leaking. You know, Man United is a project that you would look at and think, do I really want to go there? Strikers are not exactly thriving under Eric Ten Hag either. You look at Højlund, he struggled to score goals last season. So their situation is a little bit different to me. With Arsenal's situation and the stability, my question is this: would Sesko have said no to Manchester City? I think we should have been able to convince him to say, listen, I know you want to stay there and develop, but this is Arsenal. However, it is what it is. Sesko has said no to us. He obviously feels it's better to stay somewhere where he's the main man. He's going to play every week, and he feels very comfortable there. And sometimes in football, you do need to stay somewhere where you're comfortable. And also, I think in the negotiations process with Arsenal, I think there would have been conversations that Sesko would have been used in rotation with Kai Havertz. You know, there's no way they would have just brought Sesko in and benched Havertz. So Sesko may be thinking, stay at Leipzig and play every week rather than going to Arsenal and being used in rotation. But Sesko rejects Arsenal, rejects Chelsea, rejects Man United. A little bit embarrassing, but hopefully it worked out for the better. Now, what is the plan B for Arsenal Football Club? Because I put out a tweet last week saying, for me, Arsenal, you know, we're chasing a juggernaut of a football club and they have a monster up front in Erling Haaland. We need a striker that gets 20 goals in the Premier League. I didn't believe Sesko was that guy. Who are they going to go for now? Now, the stories today are linking Arsenal to Julian Alvarez of Manchester City. Now, I'm not making, you know, those faces because I don't rate him. I do rate him. I think he's a very good player. It's almost like I just don't want to sign Manchester City players anymore. And that might sound snobby because Alvarez is a World Cup winner, 24 years of age, a fantastic player. I just have this psychological thing that, you know, I don't want Arsenal to become a B-Tech Manchester City. And ultimately, these guys can't get in the Manchester City team. Zinchenko, you know, they moved him on because they signed Nathan Ake. Nathan Ake was a better left-back. Vardiola's done better at left-back. We signed Gabriel Jesus because Jesus couldn't get in the team, even when they didn't have a striker that one season. So Alvarez, I think Alvarez is a fantastic player. I almost feel like if we were signing him from somebody else other than Man City, I would take him. 24 years of age, 11 goals last season, 9 assists, 20 goal contributions. Obviously, he's on the bench most weeks. At the start of the season, he was actually playing in the number 10 role behind Haaland. But then for the second half of the season, he pretty much sat on the bench. He's a backup dancer there. Obviously, the Copa America this summer, World Cup in a couple of years, seems to be struggling to hold down that place in the Argentina team. He did get his place in the World Cup, scored 4 goals, had a brilliant tournament. But Lautaro Martinez has taken that Argentina spot back off him. He seems to be the second choice now heading into the Copa America. He did an interview over the weekend with ESPN saying, I'm calm and happy with the current situation at Manchester City. But he did say, we will see what happens. Fabrizio Romano confirming on his channel that Manchester City don't want to let him go. But if the player did want to leave, they wouldn't stand in his way. He would expect a fee of around 70 to 80 million pounds to allow him to leave. Now, first of all, I want to ask the community, would you buy Alvarez? First of all. Second of all, would you pay 70 to 80 million pounds for him? What are your thoughts around that situation? I think personally Pep would reject this move. I think it's different selling Zinchenko and Jesus when we're finishing 5th. He didn't see us as a threat. That was him doing a favour to his friend. I think now we've ran Manchester City so close the last 2 years, I don't think Pep would sell Julian Alvarez to Arsenal. Would he sell him abroad? PSG have been linked to Atletico Madrid. I just think Pep is smarter than to do a favour to us while we're his direct competition. I'll be honest, if we signed Alvarez, I do like him. I think he'd score goals at Arsenal. I just have this thing. I want us to create our own brand, our own style of football. I don't want to be viewed as this B-Tech Man City. Everything they do, we sort of copy it. But I suppose he is a fantastic striker, so beggars can't be choosers at this stage. I will be doing a video over the next few days about what strikers I would target. Now I've had to delete that all you need to know about Benjamin Sesko video. So listen, there are options out there for Arsenal. We can't sit here and feel sorry for ourselves. You may have to go and pay big money now for an Isak, for an Osimhen. Do you go back for Gyökeres? Do you go and get Ivan Toney? Despite the betting scandal that he's had. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments. Now Sesko is not coming to Arsenal. Who do we go for? And it's got to be realistic. People say you can't get Isak. I think you can if you pay enough money for him. I just don't think Arsenal are prepared to pay those prices. Do you go for Victor Osimhen? Is he the best striker that's available on the market? I know people don't really think he's worth that 110 million, but what would he do in an Arsenal shirt? Do we go for Gyökeres? 30 plus goals this season, but it's one season in the Portuguese league. Is it too early to pay that kind of money? Ivan Toney does have a 20-goal Premier League season under his belt. Do we bring him to Arsenal? We know that he would like to play for Arsenal. So let me know what striker you now think we should go for. It may be a blessing in disguise that we didn't get Sesko if we get somebody better. My concern with Arsenal is that we might actually go for someone even more less established than Sesko. It looks like we want to go for a young striker, so let's see what happens. And finally, speaking of young strikers, Chido Obi, who has been rated as the best 16-year-old at any Premier League club in terms of striker. He's broken records this season. The under-18s Premier League top goal scorer, playing 2 years above himself, scored 32 goals in 18 games in that division. He scored 70 goals this season for club and country across all age groups. He plays for Denmark. And a lot of people were saying, listen, this is the future superstar striker. Now, you don't know at 16 years of age how a player's going to develop. They were saying Reece Nelson was going to be a superstar. Eddie Nketiah was smashing records in Arsenal's youth team. But he's been snatched away from Arsenal. Bayern Munich are in advanced talks to sign Arsenal's 16-year-old striker, Chido Obi. Bayern and a number of other clubs have been watching him. Arsenal have been trying to get him to commit to a long-term contract, as he was only on a youth contract, which is obviously not big money, not long-term. They were trying to get him to sign a scholarship with a professional contract at the end of it, and it looks like Chido Obi has rejected it and will move to Bayern Munich. They've offered him more money, and according to reports, he feels there is a clearer path into the first team at Bayern Munich long term than there is at Arsenal. Now, I just want to put this into context a little bit. We don't know. This could be a future superstar. This could be a future player that just disappears in a few years. We don't know. Time will tell. However, my issue is I feel over the last 2 or 3 years, Mikel Arteta has not promoted young players. Smith Rowe, Saka, these guys were promoted originally by Unai Emery. And of course, Arteta does deserve some credit for continuing that development. But you look at Waneri, Walters, all these guys, none of them have had any sort of considerable time in the first team. Balogun didn't get the opportunity when he came back. Obviously, that sale has probably worked out quite well in the end. But I think you've sent a message to players like Chido Obi that, listen, unfortunately, under this manager at the moment, you are not going to get game time as an academy player, which is why he's decided to go to Bayern Munich. And as I said, the story says not only have they offered him more money, but he feels there is a clearer and more obvious path into the first team over the years at Bayern Munich. And I hope that's something that Mikel Arteta, changes this season. And I know it's difficult. You're chasing the big trophies. Can you promote young players? But I think at times you've had opportunities, rather than having El Neni on the bench, rather than having Cedric, rather than continuing with Eddie Nketiah, who's clearly not good enough. I want to see Waneri get game time, even if it's 10, 20 minutes here and there at the end of a game when we're winning Carabao Cup games, FA Cup, who knows. But these guys need an opportunity because young players will look at Arsenal and say, I'm not going to get a chance there. I'll go to other clubs in and around Europe. So, listen, who knows? We could be looking at a future superstar striker who's left the club for peanuts, or it could be a guy who doesn't make it, but I think it's something that needs addressing as we move forward. Thank you very much for tuning in. As I said, get in the comments, let me know what you think. Sesko rejecting Arsenal, is it embarrassing? Is it a blessing in disguise? Personally, I wasn't particularly hyped by him at all, but it doesn't look good that Arsenal in this situation are not able to get the guy that looks as if it was our number one striker target. Who do we go for now is the question I want to ask you. Give me a realistic name. Do we have to overpay for somebody? Links with Julian Alvarez, Manchester City striker. Very good striker. We've all seen how good he is. World Cup winning number 9 with Argentina. Would you take him? City apparently would accept 70, 80 million. Or do you not want another Manchester City player? Do we need to create our own path and not keep signing Man City players? Would Pep even allow him to come to Arsenal? I don't think he actually would. And Chido Obi, the young star striker at Arsenal, being snatched by Bayern Munich, what does that say about young players at Arsenal and the lack of game time that they're getting under Mikel Arteta? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for tuning in. Take care, and I'll see you all tomorrow, people.